Hello, this is my review of the Final Fantasy Remake. I know I don't review games, but I have been flat out lately at work, and I've just been creeping home and playing this in the night, and I've just beaten it, so I've been playing it just with my kids and stuff. I haven't had any time to do knife videos, I'm sorry. I will get there, I'm sure. I've got some time off coming soon, I hope. So, we have a remake of Final Fantasy VII. If you know this channel, you know that I love these games. They very much sort of shaped my tastes in media to come, and lots of the music, in fact, you hear in a lot of my videos is from the Final Fantasy games. So number 7 is, it's a remake, and it's a retelling. That's the most important thing about this that you need to know. This is a retelling. So that is not going to sit well with some people. With me, I'll go through it. I'm going to talk pretty openly about this game. I'm not going to completely give away everything that happens, but if you want to go into this game with complete, hopeful, exuberant optimism, then maybe this isn't the review for you to watch, but these are my thoughts on it having played through the whole thing. So, let's talk about how the game actually plays for a start. So it's a 3D, completely amazing looking and sounding remake of the Final Fantasy VII Midgar world. This goes from the start of Final Fantasy VII to the part where on the edge of the overpass they leave Midgar. So that is the picture you're looking at, but they completely flesh out this world, making it huge and feels populous and feels alive, and they do a really excellent job of world building in this game. They do lots of lore building about Shinra, about Avalanche, about Soldier, and about your main characters. Really, really well done. Playing the thing, it feels the most similar to, in the world parts, Final Fantasy 13. So that's lots of sort of smaller maps with maybe one, maybe two, sometimes 3 ways out. Usually the second and third ways are just to an extra chest or piece of materia, and then onwards to the main objective. It's an urgent sort of storytelling endeavour, this game. I was fine with it. I would hope that in the next installments they do world map, at least in the same way as maybe Final Fantasy 12 does world map, with like large open areas. That would be great, but anyway. So in this game you're very much on the clock getting through the story, and that's how it is. The best thing about it though is the battle system on your way through to those story points is excellent. This is about as well as I think you can do an action role-playing game. It's a mix of, I would say, Final Fantasy 15, Kingdom Hearts, but also with some proper menu-based stuff. So what you're basically doing is kind of filler attacks with every sort of couple of seconds, you know, a proper attack happens that actually does do some decent damage to your enemies, but that's just through your square button inputs. Then once you've filled up your ATB, which fills up the more you do these filler attacks, then you can do your proper abilities, spellcasting, item usage, and things like that. It's a really tactical experience. It's nowhere near button mashing. If you button mash, that might get you through the first half hour of the game, but then things will start killing you quick. On normal mode, which I played this through, it's the hardest you can get at the start. This game does not mess around. Some bosses will kill you several times before you figure out what the weaknesses is, or when you should be attacking, when you should be defending. It's very, very sort of tactile experience. You dodge, you defend with your sword, and it is very action heavy, but there is certainly a tactical mindset to it. So really, really well done battle systems, which even when those linear story-driven points, and even some of the more kind of the times where it gives you the game and says, hey, go on some side quests, the fact that you're fighting in this really entertaining battle system is what keeps you really enthralled. And I was really enthralled for the entire time I was playing this game. The characters and the development of the characters is done great. So each character feels like its own class now. You only play as 4 characters in this game. Red 13 appears in the last sort of hour of the game, as he does in the main story in the Midgar portion, but you don't actually control him. So that was a bit of a bummer to me, but the 4 that you do control properly feel different. So Barrett is a gunner. Controlling Barrett feels like a third-person shooting style game with a bit of auto-aim and stuff. Really, really well done. Tifa is like a monk. She starts with monk style materia, so she starts with the chakra materia. She has her triangle skills. All the characters have a different triangle button skill. A proper sort of punch kick combos. It's really cool. And then Eris is your healer sage style character. So in the original Final Fantasy VII, By the end of the game, it was basically choosing characters on limit breaks and materia, which, combinations you could put onto any character. So this is a real step up from that, and the characters feel amazing to walk around with and control and to develop. You can further develop them using materia. So materia is the same as it was in the old game, just a little bit more fleshed out again. There's still linked materia slots in your weapon, individual materia slots. All that sort of stuff done really, really well. Lots more materia as well than what you would normally get in a Midgar playthrough in the original. So really like the materia system. You can tell it's going to go really great the more they develop this series. And then you can develop each weapon as well. So in the original Final Fantasy VII, Cloud only gets the Buster Sword, and he's got the Buster Sword all the way through Midgar. In this one, you get, I think, five or six weapons overall, maybe just 5. I think I just got 5. There might be one I missed somewhere. But each of those weapons stays relevant. They all just sort of for different things, and they each teach, again, a bit like Final Fantasy IX, each weapon teaches your character a skill that once that skill is being taught through use, your character can use without having that weapon equipped again. So really, really well done. And you can go into your weapons and modify them further as well through like a sphere system as well. So lots of customization. You can do lots of tinkering with your menus and all that sort of stuff. The game plays great. The battle system is excellent. Moving around the overworld is fine. There is just a slight bit of dullness and repetition. The setting and the characters I was largely happy with. So it's amazing to see this Midgar city fully realised and see all the people in it and explore the sections properly in little alleyways and nooks and crannies. You really can do that. It's all rendered amazingly. It all looks amazingly. You'll find yourself just looking up sometimes at the giant Shinra building looming over, or at the plate above, because Midgar's like a stacked city. Really well done. And when Shinra does do the bad things in this game that have an effect on the populace, you can see the gravity of them so much more than what was a quick CGI sequence in the original. So, for example, when the plate drops, it's proper cataclysmic, and you can see it, and they express it really, really well. Character-wise, they did some great things with the characters. So they've got a lot of extra development on Biggs, Wedge, and Jessie, because they're in a lot of the first part of the game. Jessie, you'd have her join your party if you could by the end. She's a really, really good character. Thirsty though, geez. And then Barrett himself is... I never particularly had a fondness for Barrett in the original. They actually sort of flesh him out to be... He feels almost like a fanatical cult leader a little bit of this Avalanche group. There's also much more fleshed out. Avalanche, Shinra, Soldier, lots more layers of complexity added. So say when the plate falls, when the executives order the Shinra Mafia to blow up a part of the city. And when you go to the Shinra headquarters later on, you see all the people in the building who are just normal people who go there for a job. They're all really upset by it, and they don't know the full story of what's happened either. There's also lots of world building for things like Wutai that's going to be happening later. I really didn't mind any of the stuff. There's a lot of extra added, and this is a retelling. But all with the same characters largely. There are a couple of extra characters. There's an extra soldier who appears, who I think is just more or less to show what kind of people soldiers often are. Kind of nuts, kind of like intense, careless. Really interesting. I didn't love the character, but I sort of liked what they were trying to do, build on this soldier concept. Lots of development on Shinra and Avalanche, though. Really, really well done. Sephiroth is in this game a lot more than you would see him if you were to play the original. Sephiroth, you don't even see his character model until you leave Midgar in the original game. In this one, he is in it from the very start, but in it along the constraints of the plot. So, spoilers is that lots of the Sephiroths you deal with in the game aren't the real one. So that is still apparently going on. But they're giving the people their fan service. I don't love Sephiroth as much for a villain. I think almost it's a bit too overdone with the wing and all that sort of stuff they added later and all the extra material. I almost find that just a little bit cringe. But lots of folks like it, so they've given us all a lot of Sephiroth. He kind of does haunt the game from the beginning quite well, and I'd say it's about a 50-50 in how they do it. The problem is, towards the end of the game, they just let Tetsuya Nomura do whatever he wants, and it's in the last hour to half an hour of the game, it basically becomes Advent Children, and it kind of gets a bit timey-wimey, reality, fighting destiny, stuff that feels like it would be more at home in, say, Final Fantasy 13 2. And it gave me a lot of concern about what they're doing with this game series long term, with the second, third, and fourth parts or whatever they're going to do. I have a very bad feeling that they are lining this up to maybe not do the big kill that they do towards the middle of Disc 2. Or is it Disc 1? No, at the end of Disc 1 is the original game. I have a feeling that they may be trying to tow around that and say, hey, we're going to diverge off. We've given a Midgard that was about 80% of what they've seen before. Now we're going to go same world, but we're going to do the story a completely different way now. And I'm worried. I am not sure if I like it. There's this series of boss fights towards the end that just feel ripped straight out of like Kingdom Hearts or like, yeah, Final Fantasy 13 2 is, the one where she's like in Valhalla. There's a lot of the kind of weird stuff like that about destiny, and it just wasn't needed. When you've got a game where 2,000 years ago an alien parasite hit the planet, consumed the culture that was here, and then was frozen and sealed off, and then was dug up by an evil power company 2,000 years later, and then this alien monster's cells were put into its super soldiers, one of which, when he realized this, went crazy and tries to commandeer the whole planet and infects the life stream underneath it. That's enough crazy already. We didn't need any of this kind of, that's what bothers me the most. I do not know what they're going to do with the story from now. I would just, please, rein it in. Don't go like all, not to say give us all exactly what we want, but give us largely what we're expecting. It's people just want a remake, they don't want a retelling, and I think they've played at the end with a little bit of retelling. Maybe they're going to see how we feel about that, and I don't feel good about that, so that's just how I feel. But getting aside from that, the whole time I was playing this game, I was really enjoying it. I was absolutely loving seeing the portrayal of the characters. The battle system was excellent, one of the best, if not the best, action role-playing system I've seen so far. Really well done, really exciting, bracing moments and visuals still. One of the best looking games I've ever seen. The music is amazing. The settings are largely excellent. There's some slower parts, but they're buoyed by that excellent battle system. Overall, the game's a 9 out of 10, but I'm really, really hesitant to endorse the sort of stuff they start doing at the end. So I'll leave it to you all to play, and whoever's interested can let me know in the comments once they've played it and see if you agree with me or not. But that's my review of Final Fantasy VII Remake on the PS4 so far. Thank you for watching, and I'm hoping to be back with some knife content soon. I'm just knackered. I'll see you guys. Goodbye.